Welcome to the coffee chat with our illustrious MFE alumni. We have Sebastian and Guillermo with us today. Thank you so much for being here. We also have Jeff Credidio, who is my MFE admissions coordinator, and many of you may have already had some contact with him or myself. We are the go-to for all things admissions, and we welcome you today. And so with that, I will move on to the next slide. And for those of you that are not aware of what financial engineering is, a simple way to think about it is mathematical finance, computational finance, financial mathematics, basically integrates concepts from math, statistics, and computer science with finance theory. And so, we are very happy to be a top-ranked quantitative finance program housed in a top-ranked business school at the #1 public university in the US. I think, Jeff, isn't it for the 5th year or the 6th year?
6 years now.
6 years. So we're very proud of that, and happy to be a part of this great university. And our goal is to provide our students with rigorous training that teaches how to apply your quantitative skills in the financial markets. And just a brief overview, our program is full-time. It has a concentrated practical curriculum. You are done in 15 months. So what that means is you start in the fall quarter, you go for the winter quarter, the spring quarter, you go off for your summer internship, and then you come back for your final fall quarter. And we are STEM designated, which means that you can apply for permission to extend your employment post MFE in the US from 12 months to a total of 36 months through the OPT, which is the optional practical training. This is a fantastic way to get work experience in the US if you do not have a fully funded scholarship from one of your governments, that you need to go back and pay that time and make your dues. But we'll get more into that in a little bit. Very quickly, we are currently recruiting for the class of 2024, which begins September 2023, so this coming September, and it ends December 2024. And I have a slide later on in the presentation that shows when the admissions deadlines are. We have one left, April 30th. And so we'd love to have you apply. So moving on, we are going to have our panelists, our two panelists, Guillermo and Sebastian. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedules. It's so lovely to see both of you. I always love seeing our alumni, and this is one thing that our MFE program, once you're a UCLA Anderson MFE part of UCLA Anderson MFE, you're always a part of our MFE family and the greater UCLA Anderson family. So with that, I would love to have one of you start by introducing yourself and give us your background pre-MFE. Did you have previous work experience, or did you come straight out of your undergrad? Who would like to start? Okay, Guillermo.
Yeah, sure. First of all, Liana, thank you for the invitation. It's truly an honor to speak on behalf of the program and the university.
Wonderful.
I had a great time. I learned a lot. So it's truly an honor. My background before the MFE, well, I had a bachelor on business administration here in Chile, and after that, I joined an asset management company that is called Security in Chile.
Okay.
And I worked there mainly on fixed income. First as an analyst, then as a PM, and I started in Chile. The bachelor in business administration doesn't have like a focus on coding, on quant finance. It's more like theoretical finance. And I discovered that the trading desks and the asset management is moving towards the quant analysis. Mm. So then I started I learned how to code, started learning, reading a lot, yes. But I needed something else. I needed a new step on quality on my learning skills. Like I needed to improve that. While doing that, I did the CFA program, but I still had I wanted more, and I wanted this. I wanted and finance master, and this is all I needed. And looking backwards, it was like the right decision.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And we'll get more into that in a little bit, but Sebastian, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, I have some similarities and some difference with Guillermo's background. Well, also thank you for the opportunity of, again, speaking on behalf of the MFE alumni, and especially from LATAM alumni that probably wanted to be a little, in terms of number, to increase a little bit, but there has been some presence in the program across probably the beginning of the program. Consider that Eduardo Schwartz was part of the creation of this program.
Yes.
But yeah, with respect to my background, I'm an industrial engineer from the University of Chile. So in a way, I had some quant experience.
Right.
After I graduated, I worked mainly on financial risk consulting. Mm-hmm. Okay. First in my university, and then in a consulting firm, and then in my search for improving my tool set, I joined the program, and I think it was the best decision ever.
Oh, that's wonderful. I'm glad to hear from both of you that, you can still look back and say that, 2 thumbs up, that was a great decision. So, I'm curious to know, you've already, expressed that you feel like this was the best decision for both of you, but I'm curious to know what led you to pursue an MFE versus maybe an MBA or another degree, and how do you feel your background helped you do well in the MFE?
Well, it depends on what do you want to achieve. I think that an MBA can be it's a broader program. It taught you like leadership, marketing, human resources, a lot of stuff that could be really useful. But for me, I wanted to improve my finance skills, my computer skills. I wanted to become like a quant. So for me, it was an easy decision. The MBA has other strengths, but for also the MFE program is cheaper than an MBA. that's
So
the
that
reality.
factors into your final decision as well, of course.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Of course.
You have to consider all those different factors.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And Sebastian?
Yeah, I've always worked in quant finance, and I wanted again improving my tool set.
Right.
I consider that the MBA maybe could give me, like Guillermo said, other probably soft skills, but I was looking forward to learn some hard skills, and because at least what I like to do, and I've always liked to do, it's more working with data and trying to solve probably I don't want to say harder, but probably more mathematical questions. So based on that, I applied to a master in financial engineering.
Okay, very good. And we're so glad both of you did. So Sebastian, along those lines, I was wondering, it's curious to me how people from, say, a background like yours, like industrial engineering, how you ended up, even before you knew there was a Master of Financial Engineering master's degree, how did you end up pointing your path towards finance?
Well, yeah, I was lucky enough to have a financial course in my undergrad. So I pointed my undergrad thesis solving a financial engineering problem. So that opened the gate for me to start working in finance. So I was very lucky to encounter finance when I was a bit younger. But yeah, I kept that goal.
Right. And how do you feel your background helped you do well in the MFE, Guillermo?
Well, I knew a lot about economics. I knew a lot about accounting. I knew a lot about theoretical finance.
Okay.
That was an asset, totally. Yeah.
Okay, very good. And Sebastian, I know you mentioned that you had the quant skills behind you, but how else do you feel like your particular STEM-based degree helped you do well in the MFE program?
Yeah, I would like to point first that I had some quant skills that significantly increased during the program. But I mean, in one way that's helpful because it's easier to relate to the mathematical part of the program, or maybe the computational based part of the program, but that's not necessarily a recipe for success, in the sense that there's a lot of things that had to accompany. You need to also consider other stuff, and also I think that that's something that you're going to ask later, but I had some of my classmates weren't part of the same background as I, and they did great as well. I mean, I think the program gives you a lot of tools, and it's really well thought in the sense that you grew your skill set during the program to be able to be successful no matter what your background is.
Right. Yeah, the curriculum is very well thought out and lockstep, so that everything builds on everything else. So that's a great point, Sebastian. Thank you. So for students studying STEM degrees, for example, tech, engineering, mathematics, physics, computer science, out there, we may have some on this call that have joined us that have a STEM background. Why should they pivot their career to quantitative finance versus just going further in their own field? What are some of the reasons that you would choose a career in quant finance?
Well,
Sebastian?
I can answer probably because I experience
Right.
some of my classmates making these decisions. Some
Uh-huh.
of them wanted to turn their career towards finance. So in a way, if you come from a STEP background, it's easier to use those skills into solving financial engineering problems. So I consider the financial problems very interesting. So I think that's always a good reason why you should pursue the Master in Financial Engineering. And the other reason could be that the financial engineering, in a way, it's a very broad career, in a sense that you could be within the financial engineering. There are a lot of different topics and skills that you could have to follow different paths.
Right, right, exactly. Thank you for that. That's helpful. Guillermo, you had something to add?
Yeah, I agree with Sebastian. I think that also the financial markets are really dynamic. So if you have like a degree on a STEM field that is like mostly theoretical, you can use it like an MFE could give you like a lot of tools to make it like practical, the knowledge that you already have. Like for instance, math. Someone who specializes in math and did their bachelor of math, they can see like math, the application on the financial markets at every time that a price changes. So it's like really dynamic, I would say.
Very good. Thank you. And Guillermo, also to you, because you came from a business administration background, what is the possibility of success, which you are a picture of success right now in front of me, in the degree program and in the career path for those from non-traditional backgrounds, for example, not from a STEM background, like those coming from finance or econ or accounting or business administration? What would you say to them?
Well, the MFE gives you a lot of tools. It depends on what do you want to do on your career. What are you aiming for? For instance, an economist would do great with an MFE because it relates a lot of what they learned before. But I would say like a suggestion, dig really deep on math, on coding, on that stuff, because those will be really, really good tools in order to success on the MFE program.
Okay, very good. And I'm just wondering, while you were in the program, both of you, what was your experience? Do you have any highlights of the program? And to add to that, what was it like studying with people from all over the world?
Yeah, it was a great experience. You get to know different cultures, different personalities, and people that comes from completely different realities. So it's nurturing to have those kinds of experience first. And now with the specifics of the program, I think it's really interesting, and that's something that I think it's repeated every time, that it's incredible how you build on the previous quarter and you keep growing on some of the skills that you're being delivered. And you really get the sense on how you're growing. So I think that was really, really impressive and also really fast. These 4 quarters really flew by.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
I have three more highlights, I would say. First of all, the teachers are great, are world-class teachers. They're academics. They are people that, well, maybe in 10 more years, one of them could be a Nobel Prize. That type of professors you will have on the program.
Right.
That's the first thing. The second one is that this is a practical master in the sense that homeworks could be useful for your work afterwards. Mm-hmm. Last week on my work, there were two analysts like discussing that they wanted to do like something for the analysis of the yield curve, and I told them, hey, I have it all coded on R. I did it on my MFE. So let's dig in, and I will show you. So, in fact, this like helps you to
apply
to a job with a lot of background, like practical background.
Right, and apply your skills, right?
Yeah, sure. And the third thing I would say, it's LA. I mean, you will live for a year and a half on California, in LA. LA, it's great. You like near Santa Monica. I had a great time. It's the best weather in the world, maybe. So, yeah, it's a great experience.
Wonderful. That's great to hear. Thank you both. So, you both come from Chile, and being an international student, I know there are a lot of hoops that you have to jump through. What were some of the challenges you faced, not only coming from a different country, but also coming from the finance industry, not having been in school for a while, to study at UCLA Anderson?
You want to go first, Guillermo?
Yeah, sure. For me, it was calculus. I had, well, in my bachelor, I had calculus around 15 years ago.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, did you brush up on it before you came, or did you just find out that you were really rusty?
No, it is mandatory to refresh some stuff. Yeah.
Great
sure.
advice. What else?
Well, yeah, I felt a bit rusty, especially on the first test, the first quiz. It was a stochastic calculus quiz.
Okay.
I felt really slow, but yeah, you catch up really quick, and also I think it's challenging to start looking for a place to live. You're not going to know anyone in the city, but UCLA and also Anderson had great resources. Guillermo and I both lived in the UCLA family housing. Nice. So it's good to know that there are options to live within the campus facilities, and that was really helpful.
Very good. So would you say that was probably one of your biggest challenges?
Moving from Chile, yeah, probably if you add the fact of just moving and looking for a place. I mean, I had to live in a couple of Airbnbs first, waiting for the housing to be ready, and then in my case, since I was working for maybe 5, 6, maybe more years, it was slower for me than the rest of my classmates that were a bit younger to catch the rhythm.
Right. And to be clear, to all those that are on the call, we do have a very mixed, diverse group of incoming students every year. Some of them are like Sebastian and Guillermo, who came to us with more work experience. Others come to us with little to no full-time work experience. Others come straight out of their undergrad, just having had an internship. And, you know, that's all okay. We like having a very diverse group. It makes for a very rich learning environment. And I'm sure Sebastian and Guillermo can also attest to that. Are there any tips or advice for students looking to join a grad degree program in the US, such as ours, and like funding opportunities, scholarships they should be aware of, anything like that?
Sure. Beca Chile, it's a good resource that reopened, I think, last year. So it's a highly competitive scholarship, but it's doable. I think a couple of alumni from Chile, including myself, studied the program using that resource.
Mm-hmm.
But there also, I know in Chile, you can apply to private loans. And at least, I mean, I have the experience in UCLA because I studied there, but you also receive funding options within the US that you can apply even if you are a foreign student. So
right.
even I mean, I think the program really efforts on trying to give you a lot of resources, so the money is not really. I mean, it's always a difficulty, but they try to make things easier for you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. I think that this program is like an investment because it will help you get a job on what you love. Maybe if you want to work on the US, you can apply to a work on the US, and salaries in the US are way higher than in Latin America. So that way you can pay all the loans you asked for. So it could be seen like it is like an investment.
Mm-hmm. Right. And you get a very high ROI or return on investment.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, Sebastian?
I can say that for a fact that's true. I mean, even that I'm in Chile now, I work in the US for over a year, and I mean, you can pay your loan if you work there with this degree.
Right. Yeah. So with that, you know, I know that people are always very curious about how you can fund your graduate education, and it's wonderful that, you know, there are options out there. But what I would mention to everyone on this call is that you need to do your due diligence and research what is out there, because as Sebastian mentioned, you know, he has a pretty interesting story, but he was very, very fortunate to be one of those selected for a Chilean government sponsorship or scholarship that was sponsored by CONICYT. I don't know if CONICYT is still.
Yeah, it's called a NEED now, but it's the same program.
Okay. And I know that Mexico has a similar program. So you just need to do your research. Don't just be discouraged and not try to find additional sources of funding. They are out there, and I highly recommend that you take time to research and apply for different scholarships and fellowships. So, you know, what could attendees be doing now to best prepare themselves to successfully get into a top MFE program, such as UCLA Anderson?
I would say first to prepare the GRE and the TOEFL with time.
Okay.
They will take you time, a lot of time.
Yeah.
In Latin America, we are not used to speak English like on a daily basis.
Yes.
On a daily, like
Basis,
So
right.
So yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the point. I mean, you will be rusty. You need to polish your English skills, and you will, and to have a good TOEFL test and a GRE, it will take time. So that's a first step. Totally, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
What else? With respect to the test, I mean, also it's important to mention that we're not very used to write essays.
Yes.
And they are very important if you take any of the tests. You can take the GRE or the GMAT to apply to our master, but you need to write an essay in either of them, and in the TOEFL is the same. So that would require some effort, some time to prepare. It's totally doable. You just need to study. But also, I mean, you need to prepare your application. You need to also write an essay, for a couple of essays for each university you would like to apply. You need time. You need time because you also need recommendation letters. Some universities like UCLA interview you, even live or in a like recorded basis. So it's important to have time. And also, once you get hopefully accepted in UCLA, you can take the opportunities that they gave you. I remember I did a very complete Python course in DataCamp that was founded by UCLA. And also you have some pre-courses that you can take in math and I think C++. I don't know if the courses are the same, but in 2019 was C++, I think, a programming course that are optional, but I mean, there are resources that are available for you.
Right. And now actually, Jeff can tell you about the DataCamp subscription. Jeff, would you like to tell everyone about this?
Yeah, sure. So for all of our admitted students, should you guys hopefully apply and get admitted, we do provide all of our incoming students with a 6-month subscription to DataCamp at no cost to you guys. So that gives you guys access to be able to take Python, R, SQL, SQL, and various other courses that are definitely helpful for brushing up on skills that will be used in the program. So that's a beneficial resource as well that is offered.
Right, thank you. And we also actually are offering a boot camp before the program begins during the summer. It is taught by 2 PhD students, and one of them goes over in depth Python, and the other goes over the types of math skills that you're going to need to refresh yourself on. I think he goes over statistics and probability and all of those great things that you need to have in your tool belt before you get here. So you don't have the experience Sebastian had on the first exam in stochastic calculus. You know, with that, I'm glad you guys talked about brushing up on programming and math skills. You know, how did your MFE help you get to what you're doing now? And please explain to us what you are doing now and talk about what you do in your current role, both of you. If Guillermo, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. Well, when I came back to Chile, I was hired as a CIO of a pension fund here. So there, well, as responsible for all the investments on the pension fund, I had to deal with all the analysts that are both quant and qualitative analysts. Wow. So you will have, for me, it taught me a lot of stuff that was really useful in order to make to make decisions and the MFE program taught me all these concepts and how to calculate all this kind of stuff that helped me to level up and to have a one-on-one conversation with a full quant even an analyst or a manager, an international manager like PIMCO, or an international manager. So that's really useful. And then I changed jobs. I moved to a new firm that was my previous firm before I went to the US, that is Security. And now I am responsible for all the strategies that are in Chilean assets, I would say.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Big responsibility. And do you feel like the MFE is the reason you were eligible for a role like this?
Yeah. I mean, in Chile, if you have a degree in the US, and especially in a very powerful university of UCLA, you'll have the advantage over a lot of people. Like they know, well, if this guy did this program that is so hard, so hard to enter and to be admitted, and also with a lot of complex stuff, this guy should be is a really good guy. so
he can do the
work. In your CV, you will have like the UCLA brand on your CV, and that is
very powerful.
Yeah, it's really powerful. I would say.
Great, wonderful, Sebastian. What you're doing now, talk about what you're doing in your current role, but also post MFE, your first job out, and how your MFE helped you get to this stage in your career.
Yeah, I think I really squeezed the MFE opportunities and resources in a sense that we joined the program in September, and the first career fair, I think it's in November, if I'm not wrong, or maybe October. And I met an EY manager there, and he recommended me to apply to an internship with their team. And I got accepted for the summer internship. That even if it was COVID and everything changed for us in the program and for a lot of people, I kept my internship. So I got an EY contact there that it was useful in the future. I also worked with a professor during that summer, so that was also very interesting to do, and are part of the things that you're going to be able to do during the program. Then after I graduated, I didn't like my internship that much, so I was looking for something a little bit different. But we received a job opportunity within EY, but in a different team that was complex security. So I talked with the EY recruiter, letting her know that I saw that opportunity that the MFE sent me, and they did me I did like a short. I took like a shortage in the sense that I jumped a couple of stages, but I obviously I had to interview with some partners, but I got the job. I worked there for a little over a year. It was, I think, a successful experience. I could experience how the skills that the program gave me were incredibly useful within that role. And you can see that the EY complex security team, even if it's not that large within the US, I think it's a little over 100 people. I think maybe 20% of the team are UCLA MFEs. But within something between 10 and 20, yeah, we were a lot of people. So they really trust the people that graduate within this program. And then I came back to Chile, and now I work in a bank in BCI. I'm a asset liability management trader.
Mhm.
And one of the people that recommend me, it's also an MFE alum, Jose Jordan. So in a
Okay.
way, that's why I think I really have experienced the benefits of joining
Right.
like a family like the MFE from Anderson.
Right. Yes, that's one really, really strong, among other strong points for joining UCLA Anderson is the alumni network is very close knit, and we all try and help one another, including the administrators from the MFE, and the career support team is always there. You can reach out after you've graduated and we will assist you in any way we can. So thank you very, very much for, you know, all of your input, both of you. I wondered if you could expound a little bit on how the MFE creates career opportunities for students originally from other countries like Chile or Latin America, for instance.
Well, you have a couple of career fairs during your staying there. As I mentioned, they're in November, so you join in September, you graduate on December. So the first one you focus on getting an internship, and then in the second one on a job opportunity.
Mhm.
That's the first thing. Also, the MFE team helps you in the applications of the visa changes, because you need to update a couple of permissions that you have, and
Right.
you need to change your visa a couple of times within the length of the program, depending if you get or not an internship, but they are really the experts there. And you also continuously receive a bunch of opportunities within the US and outside the US, from big companies that are looking for quants with different type of working experience. Also, I think the market understand that this program has a lot of international students. So the majority of the opportunities that the program receive also comes with visa sponsorships and all the things that a lot of international students really worried about. So
Right.
yeah, I don't know if I'm forgetting something, Liana, that you would like to mention.
No, that's great. I don't know if Guillermo has anything to add, but thank you very much.
Yeah, I think, well, that the UCLA alumni is really strong. There are a lot of MBAs in UCLA Anderson, and this program is also taught by UCLA Anderson. So in some sense, your network is not only the MFEs, it could also be the MBAs.
Right.
And there are a lot of people, UCLA MBAs, working at financial firms. So that network is really useful for getting a job afterwards.
Right. 42,000 alumni from UCLA Anderson alone. So that's a huge network.
Yeah.
Probably more than you can burn through. So
Yeah, totally.
And I would just mention here that when you become a student of the UCLA Anderson MFE program, you are automatically added to our closed LinkedIn group, which is alumni and current students. So you automatically are able to tap into our MFE alumni base. And right now we're about to hit around 800. So, you know, that's a fantastic network in itself. And we are very, very active with our alumni. As you can see, we've got Guillermo and Sebastian here. So that is is just fantastic. And, you know, so with that, I would ask if there are any questions that our attendees have for our two alums. And if so, you can either unmute yourself or type it in the chat. I see Mauro raising his hand. Go ahead and unmute yourself, Mauro.
Thank you, Elena.
Yes.
Well, I noticed that Guillermo, he told us that the professors are top class, top rated. I would like to know, Guillermo, in your experience, how was that relationship with the professors? If you saw them near, open to speak with you, if you could go elaborate a little bit more in that, please.
Yeah, well, for instance, I graduated like 2 years ago, and last year I remember about a paper that one of the professors taught us, and we reviewed it on behavioral finance. And I sent him a mail. Hey, professor, I was in your class and everything. Do you remember this paper? And in like 20 minutes, he answered back. And he's a well-remembered, like a very famous guy in finance. So, okay, great. These guys are available for you. One of the teachers that was Professor Rossi, he always told us that if we had like any questions on our after the program, well, and also in the program, but just that he was always willing to answer questions, and it was like his vocation, like he loved it.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I will also like to add that you have also another like very big opportunity working within at least one professor that it's a applied project.
Applied finance project.
The applied finance project that you work with one professor solving a financial engineering problem for a real financial engineering problem for a firm. So yeah, they're really accessible.
And I would add to that, I don't know if you guys experienced this, but because our program, when you are an incoming student, you're placed in either one cohort or the second cohort. And so because of that, you're in a much smaller classroom environment, and the professors are actually able to get to know you. If you're interactive in class, if you participate, they will get to know you. And you can also go to office hours. They are so willing to have a conversation about their own research, if that's what you're interested in, because they're so excited about their research. When they see that you are as well, they want to talk to you about it. So that's also a great way to get to know our faculty members. And our faculty loves our MFE students. So that's also a huge benefit.
Yeah, totally.
And yeah, and Sebastian mentioned Professor Eduardo Schwartz, who is one of the co-creators of the Longstaff-Schwartz model. You guys should look that up. I don't know, did you guys know about that before you came to the MFE program, or was that something you learned about after?
I met Eduardo he's from the university. He's also an engineer from the University of Chile. So
yes,
I was lucky enough to be introduced to the program by him. So
right. And did either of you know about the Longstaff-Schwartz model?
Yeah, you learned it in the program.
In the program,
it was sticking in your brain.
So I would encourage you all to look up the Longstaff-Schwartz model. And those are, Professor Longstaff still teaches fixed income in our program. And unfortunately, Professor Schwartz has retired now, but we had the honor of having him as one of our professors for many years. And he has made a great impact in quant finance. So our program has benefited from his input. Were there any other, Mauro, thank you for your question. That was a very good question. Are there any other questions that we can ask our panelists? We're coming up on time, and I do know that it's almost 7 p.m. for both of you in Chile, and it's almost 11 p.m. for Mauro. Did anyone else have any questions? You can unmute yourself. Okay.
Hello,
Yes.
Diana. Hello,
Yes,
everyone.
hello.
How you guys was the after class experience? What kind of activities you developed during the program and the aftermath of that?
Okay. So you're asking what types of extracurricular activities we had during the program?
Exactly.
Well, I think that would be a great question to pose to our former students. And then I can talk about what we're doing these days, but Guillermo, Sebastian?
Well, it was hard for us because we were on the pandemic.
The pandemic, that's right.
Yeah, but we have half of our program within like normal, with normality.
Yes, right,
But
exactly.
you were part of of an MBA group, right?
Sorry?
Yeah? Were you part of an MBA?
Yeah.
Was it a Latin MBA?
Yeah, the Latin Anderson community. I joined them for a while.
Yes.
Well, in UCLA there are a lot of clubs, and they are open for everyone. I mean, not only in Anderson. I remember the first day I went to Anderson. I was walking like on the campus, and I saw this chess club.
Oh, yes.
And I went home and I told my wife, I want to join the chess club. I really want to learn. But, well, I did not.
Yeah. I joined the Anderson basketball recreational club. So we played twice a week when the program was in the normal course. And also, I think it's important to remember, I don't know if that's back, but I saw on LinkedIn that maybe it's back in the regular basis, that it's the Anderson afternoons, right? On Thursdays.
Yes, absolutely.
So that it's a very important and very fun experience that it's for all Anderson students that join, I think at 5 p.m. maybe.
Yeah, 4:45 p.m. To 6:45 p.m. these days. But yes, that's a great opportunity to network with other programs across Anderson. So you have exposure to all the MBA students, and you also have exposure to the MS Business Analytics students that are there at Anderson. And so you can expand your network by going to these social events. And
get some good food and drinks.
Right, exactly. Good food and drinks. That's always a plus. And, in addition to what Sebastian and Guillermo were talking about, we also have a number of career support events where we host lunches for alumni and current students, or dinners for alumni and current students. We also invite finance professionals to come to campus and speak to our class. And so there are many
There's also a trip, right?
Exactly. Actually, we are getting ready to take a group of 20 students to New York in not next week. Next week is finals. But the week following, we are taking a group of 20 students to New York City to meet with different companies. Bloomberg is actually hosting us for a quote unquote barbecue, which it's not a real barbecue, but that's what they're calling it, the Bloomberg barbecue. And that's just one of 3 networking events that we're hosting while our students are in New York. And that's just another great, resource that we're able to give to our students and, offer that to them if you're interested in working on the East Coast. Another thing that I wanted to mention is that we have a full-time senior career coach based in New York now. And I don't know if Guillermo and Sebastian have had the pleasure of meeting Olga, but she has been wonderful. She's got Wall Street experience. She joined our team last year part-time, and then we hired her on full-time, and she's been amazing for the career support team. So I hope that answers your question. E. Vasquez, is that your last name?
I'm Leonardo. Leo.
What is your first name?
Leo.
Leo. Okay, Leo, it's very nice speaking with you, and I hope that answered your question. Any other questions that we can answer for you before we let Guillermo and Sebastian go? Okay, it looks like we're good. I can briefly put this next slide up just so you see what the admissions requirements are for the application itself and to be eligible for applying to the UCLA Anderson MFE program. But if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to either myself or Jeff. We are always happy to answer questions that you may have. And we do require, 2 MFE essays, as I think Sebastian referred to, which is abnormal for a Latin American to be writing essays. But, don't worry too much. Just try and put your best foot forward in the application. You always want to be thinking about, how can I show my quantitative strengths and my analytical abilities? Like we said, start gathering information, start thinking about who you would like to write your letters of recommendation. They should be from people who either supervise you directly, or if you're coming straight out of your undergrad, it should be from a professor who you've worked closely with on maybe a research project or something along those lines. And the research project should be more quantitative in nature. That will definitely help. And I'm not going to go into too much detail on this. We will have this recording up on our website, so that if you missed any part of this, you can go back and rewatch the parts that you did not join us for. So application.
Yeah, and also feel free of
thank you,
add us to our
Sebastian.
LinkedIn.
Thank you.
To your LinkedIn network, and if you have any questions that you would like to ask to an alumni, please feel free to reach us. I think I'm speaking in behalf of Guillermo as well.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
sure. I'm available for any questions that you may have. You can just add me on LinkedIn and we can chat over there.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And that's just another way that our alums give back. They give their time to those who are considering the UCLA MFE program. So thank you very much. Like I mentioned in the very beginning, the program begins in September of 2023. The application is currently available online, and it is a $200 non-refundable application fee. If you are concerned about that fee, you can go through the graduate division. There's a survey that sees if you're eligible to receive an application fee waiver. Unfortunately, we cannot just give the waiver unless you are qualified to receive it. So you'd have to take that survey and find out. Application deadlines, we say apply early, but right now we're taking our third and final round applications. They are due April 30th. If you have any questions about that, please feel free to reach out. And we do have the fees listed here for the current class. They will be subject to change for the incoming class of 2024. Every year you can most likely approximate that it will increase about just around 5%. So you can do the math on that. Hopefully you can do the math since you're trying to get into a quantitative finance program. And there is financial aid available, and there are merit-based scholarships available as well. Merit-based scholarships of varied amounts are awarded to students based on the overall strength of your admissions application and the relative strength in the pool of admits. And awards are made by our admissions committee at the time of admission, but it can also happen after that as well, but before the program begins. And the great part about that is that you are not required to submit any additional application materials or anything. You are considered directly from your application that you submit for the MFE. And we also, I know we briefly mentioned the international student loans, but we are very happy to be able to give you the opportunity to apply for loans that do not require a US cosigner. And some of our international students do take advantage of that. But I would also reiterate that you should Google different fellowships and scholarships from your own country, no matter where you are, if you're based in Mexico, if you're based in Spain, if you're from Colombia, if you're from Chile, definitely look and see what your government offers. Also, I know that sometimes just for example, Bank of Thailand gives out scholarships to their citizens. And so there may be Banco de Chile or something like that that is going to offer scholarships as well. So you just have to do your research. And with that, I will put the contact info on our screen so that you can also see who we have for frequently asked questions. We update this every so often based on what types of questions we're receiving. So I would encourage you to go and look at that. And like I said, you can always reach out to Jeff or myself. But there's also the mfe.admissions contact email as well. And with that, I thank you, Sebastian and Guillermo and Jeff. Jeff has been incredibly helpful in getting these coffee chats together. So I really thank you, Jeff. And thank you all for joining. And I hope to see your application. We want to read your applications, okay? Thank you. Take care.